beer bottles, recycled. All the glass is beautiful. It's almost a see-through temple. But it's green, isn't it? Heineken?
Yeah.
Means you drank Heineken. No, you just...
I don't like.
You don't like. You don't like. Good. Because most of us Sri Lankan Buddhists, among the Buddhists, are the best of the drinkers. Sri Lanka is #1 for consumption of liquor in the world, actually, by percentage. So instead of swine flu, what you have there is wine flu. So, see how they have transformed, collecting all the bottles they can, 1 million bottles, and transformed and made a beautiful temple. Now look at the Buddha, the man who taught us the art of living in a very beautiful way, transformed into a beautiful art himself. When they wanted to make the Buddha statue, it was in Afghanistan or northern India, they thought of who was the most handsome man at that time. It was Alexander the Great. So they created the Buddha's face like Alexander the Great. The Greek Buddha we call in Afghanistan. With the curly hair, with the sharp features, with the Hellenistic countenance and outlook. So that's the beauty of, actually one of the reasons that Buddhism spread in many countries is because the Buddha looked handsome. He didn't look like someone on a cross dying out of misery. Isn't it? So that attraction, that projection, that visualization attracts many people. Now look at this picture here. The Buddha looks like a dog. But the colors give us a psychology. Of course, including this, including that. That is from Buddha Gaya, where the Buddha was enlightened. The smallest one there. So, that Thai temple, which is an eco-friendly one, the mosaics of the Buddha there, of the Buddha statue, they are created by recycled beer bottle caps. So you can imagine, isn't it, how wonderful it looks like. During the samurai period in Japan, they did something similar. The Japanese did not know artillery and gunpowder. They knew about swords only. But with the coming of the Portuguese, the Western powers, then they started to learn about all these arms and weapons. And after the war, they collected all the metals of war, melted them, and made a Buddha statue. See what a beautiful transformation, isn't it? The symbolism of the compassion of the Buddha. I mean, these are things that we need to use even symbolically to bring in transformation in our lives, in order to become happy, here and now, there and later, for ourselves and for others, for both parties. I can go on talking like this, but let me come to an end with 2 points. One is the professor at Boston University, Amherst College, Professor Daniel. He introduced in his economics discourse, courses, a Buddhist theme called consumption and the meditation of Buddhist practices. When he put this in the courses, he found that the students started to become more aware. They were not Buddhist students. He himself was not a Buddhist. And that they were dealing with situations as a model rather than simply talking about abstract notions of economics, very practical and living. So that's it. That subjective well-being of all beings and nature as well, Sabbhe Sattva Bhavantu Sukhitatta, the environment. So it expands in the Buddha's word. So interestingly, the other point, Emperor Ashoka the Great, like Alexander the Great, like Constantine the Great, like Akbar the Great, he had this to say on how you could achieve happiness. I quote. He said, "May the Dhamma," the teachings of the Buddha, "last as long as my sons and grandsons and the sun and the moon," he didn't forget nature, "exists. May the people follow the path of the Dhamma." Why? For if one follows the path, happiness in this world and in the other world will be guaranteed. I assure you that and not. Now you have a great opportunity because there are less people and you don't have to feel shy to ask questions or make comments. Yeah?
I just completed today a 10-day Vipassana meditation course, and it was totally about the Dharma, about using meditation as a technique to get in touch with our subconscious mind, feeling the feelings of the body and how the body reacts.
Yes.
When can you speak a little bit about that and
Yeah,
your perspective of what the Buddha taught in that regard?
That would be something different from this, isn't it?
Is it?
You could see the relationship, no doubt. You could make the relationship. But this is not about mind development. Here I have stressed more on the physical nature of a person and how development can come. And how you can be happy as a lay person, basically, also includes monks. And how you can deal with Buddhism as a universal message without a bias of race, religion, and how it is a human-centered form. So I didn't want to go, that's why I rejected the idea of idealism. Because the mind thing, we are not against, we understand the importance of the mind, but you cannot have a mind without a body. So I think I would stay at that so that the discussion is concentrated on this. Rather than if I go to another point, it becomes another discussion. So if once we finish this, we may get to that. Because even in the Vipassana teachings, I know you are referring to that particular group, they have come up with a book called Vipassana, the Art of Living. You could see the relationship, but you have to make it that way. Yes, any other questions or comments? What do you think about laughter? Because you don't ask questions that you I must ask. I'm asking you a question.
What did you ask?
What do you think about laughter according to Buddhism?
Laughter?
Laughter, yeah, to laugh. What do you feel or think about it?
When you're happy, you laugh.
Is it only when you're happy you laugh?
No, I think you could laugh at the misfortune of others. Sometimes you can laugh at the misfortune of others.
Yes, this is what I'm getting to. You see, relating to Sri Lanka, the last few weeks or 1.5 months we saw, some of our people were so happy to see that the war ended. But it's a very serious thing actually. Because that happiness is not real happiness. You get a kick from it because your enemy is dead. It's called Schadenfreude in German language, which means to feel happy at the misfortune of your enemy. And if you practice loving kindness universally and say Sabya Satta Bhavat Sukhita Atta, may all beings be well and happy, you cannot have that kind of feeling to be happy or laugh at the misfortunes of your friend, of your enemy. Some patients, they're so miserable about their lives. But when they hear that somebody else died out of cancer, so it's the same, we have a sickness towards well-being and wellness. That's why the Buddha says, always happiness not just for oneself and for others. Then he concludes again categorically, he says, for both parties. To make sure that there's universal hedonism, universal happiness for everyone. Because if it is happiness only for one side, the problem comes back. It bounces back. I'm happy you brought up the misfortune story. Yes, any other comments you'd like to make? Yes, if there's nothing more, then we come to a conclusion, isn't it? So friends, I wish all of you well. In this struggle to get rid of suffering and to achieve happiness, by entering into dialogue for a little while, by listening to notions from the teachings of the Buddha and with some social applications, that you could psychologically, introspectively look into yourself and try to re-evaluate some of your sensations, your feelings, your misgivings, or your misunderstandings about happiness and suffering. By all the good work you do, with the willingness to listen to the Dhamma, which is a blessing, as the Buddha says, may you be well and happy. May you get rid of suffering before long, be well and happy here and now, there and later, and finally achieve the bliss of Nibbana. Okay?
So, actually we had not planned to have this kind of a discussion today. Especially be thankful to Bhante, because he opened even my eyes to certain kind of unfamiliar directions in his talk, and I think it will be very helpful to you all.
Yeah.
And we wish especially to his mother and father and to the teachers who made who granted this kind of a wonderful chance to listen to such a important, very good to all of us. Says